Hi, I am Cesar Santos.
This is our first stop after leaving Miami, here in Charleston, South Carolina. We are heading towards a museum. I want to go in there and look at some art, paintings, and see what I find that is interesting. We're thinking of walking around the city and see if we see anything interesting to paint and to draw and to practice. I'm excited to be working with this new medium of gouache, which is a totally different system and approach and mentality towards it. I'm gonna look for something that is dramatic in terms of light and dark and colors to represent and to keep my diary of my travels across the US. Every time I visit a new city, I like to go to the museum without looking at the website, because you might be disappointed or something might throw you off about some of the collection. Maybe they have an amazing painting and they don't put it. I'd rather be surprised. I'd rather go into a museum and see what is up for me there to take. Here it is, the Gibbes Museum of Art. Let's go in there and see some art.
I'm super happy to find a painting by Tarbell, who was an artist in the Boston art scene at the turn of the century. I like to see variations on the style of the famous Sargent, and this is another way of that type of application, where you have some very soft edges next to really sharp strokes. You can see with the profile of her face there, a nice sharp curve describing that nose and that profile. And then suddenly maybe, you know, disappearing under the lips or in some areas of the hair. This is the beauty of this style of painting, either Tarbell or Sargent. They have that power of paint application, and I love coming and learning from it. That's why it's important to see paintings in person, because they're made of material. And if you see a digital image, even through the video, it doesn't do justice. And this type of paintings need to be appreciated in person. Oh vale, that painting reminds me of the Velázquez portrait of Juan de Pareja, who was a good artist in his own right too. Velázquez painted his assistant with the same pose, and as soon as I got in the room, you can recognize that maybe he did reference to that painting. In the Velázquez painting, his assistant is facing the other way. So they're, you know, actually facing each other if you put them next to each other, but they do have similar poses with the hand, and the attitude is what got my attention mainly, because he has this pride, cool pose to it. Very interesting, I like it. What I see is drawing with branches and twigs and flowing around, so almost like copying the rhythm of air. This type of art challenges the idea of drawing. Is it drawing only with a pen or a pencil or charcoal? No, you can definitely draw in space, and you can draw with branches and twigs and make poetic images throughout. This takes time, so I really appreciate this piece right here. We are in a blocky building, and bringing this inside in a way creates a similar sensation as classical art, because it connects you with nature and the idea of the respect and the beauty of it. In a way, it's fun. You come in and you see someone fixated with the idea of putting little branches together and making them into funny shapes. Sometimes things happen that you never saw before, and it provides metaphor or provides poetry. Sometimes installations can be a scribble too. This caught my attention because it's like a kid's drawing, but with main principles working. So it looks good in a sense, but at the same time it looks like a little scribble. The relationship between everything is fine. I like the mood of it, like the urban kind of like behind, like a parking lot type of thing. When you go to a museum, there's no pressure on you. You can just go and surrender yourself and experience things. Let's say I love portraiture and I love 19th century style or the classical art periods, so I might be scanning and looking through that, but instead I go to a museum to see what it brings. I'm walking around and it's like a theater. I'm enjoying what I'm looking and talking about it with Valentina, and I want to share with you this idea of looking at this and saying, what is the good of it instead of what is the bad of it? And if you try to find the goodness in things as well as in people, then it's better for everybody. Just gonna lay this here and see what I can do. I got a high chroma yellow and a low chroma yellow. The same thing with reds. I have different value reds because sometimes you need a red in the shadows. So the best idea will be to get a red that is of a darker value. I also decided to put the grays here first. So I'm gonna order them by the level of darkness of the grays. That way I can have reference to even other values of different colors and compare them to the grays. Finding the right value is one of the toughest things. With oils, you can just add a lot of color together. I think with gouache, it's better to keep them without mixing that much, because the freshness and the quickness of application with colors that are water soluble is better. I like more to look for places that maybe people will miss as beautiful, and I find the beauty because I look for light shapes and shadow patterns and stuff that can make a good image, but at the same time would not be categorized as a pretty scene. I like that scene over there because it has that warehousey feeling, and then the parking lot, but I see some angles and some values because of the trees that might have a nice potential to be represented in a painting. So let's see what happens. The light has changed a lot, so it's not worth it to keep chasing the light or painting something when the light is no longer the same. So I kind of got it quickly sketched in. Again, I'm getting used to this new medium of gouache as I travel and keep memories of the places we visit. We have to have dinner now and head out
on the next train ride. And we are in. Guys, I've never been in a cabin in a train. This is surreal. It's super tiny, but it has everything. Off to Washington, D.C.